could be a wrong CV format, or even not having an email body, or even an unprofessional email. Here are some common mistakes that get your CV disqualified before a hiring manager gets the opportunity to review it. Hey lovelies, hi guys, welcome back to Zini's Corner. If you're just seeing this channel for the first time, my name is Ezine. Here on this channel, it's all about bringing you videos, topics, contents that help you level up in both your personal and career development goals. You know, all those wholesome stuff that you watch, you engage, it would help you in your overall job search, personal or career development goals. It's all about leveling up here on this channel. So I'm going to ask you to please take a minute of your time to hit that subscription button, turn on my notification, share my videos. Just, these are just ways to support the community to grow as God has done it for you to find this channel. Do it for someone else by liking, sharing, and subscribing. And to my existing subscribers, thanks guys. You guys are the reason why I do what I do. Now on today's topic, common mistakes that can get you disqualified in a job application. Basically, what does this mean? There are some times that you apply for a job, you are very, very qualified, and then you didn't even get shortlisted, and you're wondering, why did I not get shortlisted? Sometimes they are just little mistakes that nobody is above mistake. There are just some little mistakes that sometimes can get you disqualified, especially when the competition is tough, when the competition is super high. So sometime this week, this video was actually inspired by a job posting that was put out by an executive on Twitter. He put out a job posting that he was looking for an executive assistant, and 5,812 applications. He received 5,812 applications in one day. Like, that's a lot of applications, if you agree with me, right? This tweet. Yeah. So, man, I'm sure a lot of people may have qualified for the role that he was, hiring for, the executive assistant role, but perhaps they didn't even get shortlisted. At the end of the day, he shortlisted 20 people out of that 5,812. And you might be asking, how did he shortlist those? Nobody has the time to start interviewing 5,812 people. That's insane. Like, it's absolutely impossible. Obviously, there would be shortlistment criteria. So this guy, this executive that was hiring, was kind enough to share some of the criteria that he used in shortlisting his 20 candidates, and he mentioned them. Yeah, so he was very kind enough to share this criteria. And when he shared the criteria, a lot of people were making comments like, oh, this is bullshit. Some took the feedback, but they didn't really understand some of the things he listed on this criteria. So with this video, I'm going to be breaking down each of these criteria, telling you the whys, the just ensuring that you understand why some of these criteria can actually disqualify you. Not just it's not just a criteria that is put out to make things difficult. No, they're actually just basic job etiquettes that everybody is expected to know, and this is actually why it will disqualify you, especially when the competition is tough. Now let's start from the first one, guys. Now he said those who sent their CV in docs format instead of PDF. Guys, so everybody, I think by now everybody knows what is Word document format and PDF. Now, when you want to send any professional document, whether it's your CV or your cover letter, whatever kind of professional document it is, you have to send it in PDF. What's the difference between a PDF and a Word document, right? Some people might ask. Now, a Word document is obviously a document in Microsoft Word. So there are so many versions of Microsoft Word. For example, I can have version, let's say, this is just an example. I can have version 10.5, and you have version, maybe let's say 6 or 8.5. You sent your documents from version 8.5 to me that has version 10.5. When I open that document, if your format is in Word docs, the document is going to look like this. It would be very disarranged. So nobody has the time to start figuring out, oh, what is here, what is supposed to be here. That kind of document that the work experience will move to this place, it will just be very disarranged. And another point is that if you have a document in Word format, that document is editable. So for example, you can send me a document, and let's say, I can just open that document and edit maybe while I'm trying to download it or something, I might mistakenly edit something out of your document. So you don't want that to happen. Whereas for PDF documents, PDF files are not editable. When you send someone a document in PDF and the person downloads it, it remains in that same exact format which the person sends it to you in. So that's why you need to have all professional documents, CV, cover letter, whatever it is, in PDF format when you're sending it to for an application or for anything that requires you to send a document. So no Word document, send in PDF. If I'm hiring for a role and 5,800 and something people send me an application, I will not bother opening Word document. I will be like, this person is not serious, next. So yes, that can be a disqualification metric that can disqualify you. Now let's go on to the next point which he listed out. He said those who are lazy not to write a body of email, disqualified. So I find that very funny when someone calls for an application and you just attach your CV without any email body. I don't know if by now everybody knows what an email body. When you open an email, you see subject and then email. For whatever reason, you shouldn't send your CV to someone who is hiring, a hiring manager, a recruiter, whatever, without an email body. At least the least thing you can write there is dear, the person's name, dear hiring manager, dear what have you. We'll get to that part where the salutations to give. But for whatever reason, do not just attach your CV and send. Dear the person's name, dear hiring manager, dear what have you. My name is XYZ. I am applying for the role of ABC. I am skilled in bam, 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 whatever skill you have. Maybe 2 years of experience, 3 years of experience. Please find my CV for your consideration. Something as short as that is an email body. So for whatever reason, ensure that you don't have an empty email body. It looks somehow like it doesn't show seriousness at all. So always put at least this least email body, especially when you're not asked for a cover letter. Even though you're asked for a cover letter and you attach your CV and a cover letter, you can write something as short as dear the person's name, dear hiring manager, dear sir or dear ma, whichever the case is. Please find attached or kindly find attached my CV and cover letter as requested for the XYZ role. Kind regards, thank you, sincerely, your name, right? So please do not ever send an application without an email body. Now let's go on to the next point, which he listed as his disqualification metric. Those who said dear hiring manager to whom it may concern, he disqualified them. Now, this is actually a very tricky one. Some people might, in fact, some people were asking, but why that? Isn't that the right way? Yes. Dear hiring manager to whom it may concern, while it is the right way to send an application, but there's a caveat. You should use dear hiring manager or dear sir or to whom it may concern when you're sending a blind application. What is a blind application? A blind application is one that they didn't indicate anything. You didn't see the name of who is hiring. They just maybe put out a company address and say, we are recruiting for this, send CV. That way, you didn't even see, there is no name of hiring manager. There is no identification. You didn't see who posted. Now, if you come across a job, ad, and you can clearly see the name of the person who is hiring, address that your email to that person. For example, if I, Ezine, was the one who posted the job, please say, dear Ezine. If it's Emeka that posted the job, please say, dear Emeka. But in a situation where you did not see a name, you just saw maybe company email address, you can say, dear hiring manager or to whom it may concern. Now, another trick here is that if on that email, if let's say you did not see a name, it's a blank application, but however, the email address given to you to send your application is someone's name. For example, if let's say the email address is ezine.morin@xyzcompany.com or at gmail.com, look at the email and pick out the name of the person on that email and address it to. A lot of people don't pay attention to this. Actually, this is all what shows that you pay attention to the tiniest details. So ensure that you look at the email very well, except the email does not come with a name, a person's name. If it's a company's email, that is when it's called a blind application. You can now send your CV and say, dear hiring manager or to whom it may concern. But remember, like I said earlier, if it's from a person and you can clearly see the person, please address it to the person, dear Ezine, dear Emeka, dear Jason, whichever one that, or whoever it is that's posted the application, the job. Okay, now on to the next point which he listed. The points are actually super interesting. Those who sent their CV in PNG. What is a PNG? So a PNG format is a picture format. How on earth are you sending your CV in a picture format? Like, come on, guys. Someone is asking you to send your CV. You took a picture of your CV and attached it and sent. Are you even serious with your life? Who does that? So, guys, please don't ever do that. Remember, CVs and every professional document should be sent in PDF. No PNG, no Word document. Word document is except you are asked, except on exceptional cases where the recruiter or whoever that is requesting for the CV specifically said send in Word document. But if not, don't send in Word document. And worst of all, do not send in PNG. That is picture format. Don't take a picture of your CV. Some people will even go as far as putting their CV on the table and snapping it and come on. Like, please don't do that. That is super ridiculous. Nobody will even take you seriously if you do that. Are you a joke? So please, guys, don't do that, okay? Next point which he listed is those who shortened the role. So what does this mean? He posted he was hiring for an executive assistant. Now, I know that the short form of this role is called EA, but on no account are you applying for a job. Let's say whatever job it is, customer service, accountants, whatever. Do not ever use an abbreviation for your application. Application for EA. No. Whatever job you're applying for, write it in full. Application for an executive assistant, application for customer support, application for whatever it is you're applying for. Abbreviations are frowned upon in applications because really you might be abbreviating what you're abbreviating for is being, it's something else for that person. Do you know if to the person EA means, I don't know, something else? But yeah, so always ensure that you state the job title clearly, both in the subject and in the body of the email. No abbreviations. All right, now let's move on to the next point. Now the next point, he said those who couldn't use on the subject application for executive assistant or application for the executive assistant role. Now I know this, while a lot of people might think this particular point is petty, no, it's not. I kid you not, it's not. 5,812 applications. Trust me, you will do everything to reduce that number. And of course, he was looking for 20 people. So how do you think 20 people, the best 20, would be gotten if you are not disqualified for not paying attention to details? So now, when you're applying for any job, the subject of the email should be application for that role. You can't just put executive assistant. Executive assistant for what? Are you making inquiry for like what exactly is executive assistant for? I don't know if that makes sense. So that's why you have to put application for the role of executive assistant, application for whatever role it is you're applying for, or application for that role, application for the role, however you want to phrase it. But always ensure that on the subject of your application, you use application, like you clearly indicate that this is an application for that role that you're applying for. Okay? All right, guys. Now the next points he mentioned, those who forwarded their emails. So there's a difference between sending an email directly and forwarding an email. So sometimes maybe the person must have sent, now this is for those who use one application to send to 20 people. Sometimes they will forget, they will now be doing forward. That's total failure. So guys, don't do that. When you forward your email, on the subject of the email, the person who received the email will definitely know that you sent that email somewhere else, because the subject will come with something called FWD, which means, so the person's email is telling the person that this email was previously forwarded to somebody. Now, a personal hack for people like, if you're smart enough, when you forward an email, what you can do is delete that forward on the subject of the email, delete the following, when you forward an email, the email that you forwarded will come with the previous email address which you forwarded it, the time you sent that email, the previous email. So it will look something like, like this. You will see the name of the person who sent it previously, the time you sent it previously, the subject of the email which you used in sending previously. So if you're smart enough, if you want to forward an email, what you're going to do is do Control A, highlight all the information below that is showing the previous person who you sent it to, delete it. And of course, ensure that you go to the subject, delete that FWD. Now, this is high level cheat code that I'm giving for. I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't say that I don't forward email, but of course, I'm smart enough to, when I forward emails, I ensure that I delete every single, essentially, when I forward email to somebody, you would think it's a new email because there is no FWD on the subject and there is no previous. But if you forward an email that has the previous person who you sent it to, the person's email on the subject, the person can clearly see it's forwarded. It will look like a joke because you sent how many people? Like some people say, I've received an email from people and it was forwarded to, like, they've used that email to forward like 5 other people, and I can clearly see all the people's email. Like, come on, nobody will take you seriously with that. So when you want to send, don't just, if I would always advise, send a fresh email. Always send a fresh email. But if you're too lazy to be sending a fresh email, then be like me, who sometimes when I want to forward an email, be smart enough to delete the previous emails, the previous body of emails, or the previous email addresses of people you forwarded it to. Again, don't forget the subject. That place, the subject of the email, it will have FWD. Delete it, move your subject to the end so that it aligns like a new email, and send. That way, voila! Whoever you're sending it to will not know that you forwarded that email. But again, remember, send fresh emails. Just only do this if you're smart enough like me, who can bypass that problem. Okay. Now the next the next tip, or the next points which he gave on his disqualification criteria, is those who sent their application after the deadline. Of course, this is very straightforward. If an application says deadline by XYZ, I feel like there is no need sending by after that. So always ensure that you send application within the time frame that the hiring manager or the job ad, whatever, says. Some people, they will keep applications till last minute, they will not start rushing. That last minute, you're bound to, make some mistakes and things like that. So I think this is a very straightforward point. Those who sent the application after the deadline, they were automatically disqualified. Now, I'm going to add some bonus points to his points, some other bonus points that can also get you disqualified. Bonus points 1, trust me, okay, it's not going to be long, but bonus points 1, if you have an unprofessional email. For example, a normal person's email should be your name, your last name at gmail.com or at yahoo.com or at whatever domain name you're using. But I see some people who apply for professional stuff with very funny emails, baby girl, baby boy, I am sexy, whatever. Like, that's very ridiculous. Such emails are most likely going to go to a junk folder or a spam folder. AIs, email domains or email AIs or whatever have become so high. They've become so good right now that especially I know for these 2 domains which I mentioned, when I receive an email that has a funny email address, I've noticed that most times they send it to my junk. Now, imagine you're applying for a job and your application is sent to the junk. Nobody has time to be going to junk folder to go and look for your application. That means you will sleep there. So always ensure that when you're doing professional stuff, your email address is at least sane. Don't use a funny email address to send your CVs or your applications, because they might end up in junk. Now, another bonus point, I know I said I'm not going to give too much, but come on. The essence of this channel is to ensure that you are growing in all level of, in all aspect of your personal and career development. So I'm sure this would also come in handy for you. Now, the bonus point is, if you can, put an avatar on your email. This is also another way that you can always bypass having your application or having your email go to someone's spam or junk folder. An avatar, of course, I don't know if everybody knows what an avatar is. An avatar is that small picture that you upload on the profile picture of your email. So you can find it by going to your settings and editing and putting a picture. So when you put an avatar, that way the AI or whatever that screens email gets to say that, oh, okay, this is an actual person's email. It's not a spam. So especially when your email has like a link on it, attached to it, or a link in your CV or something, such emails are most likely, they have a tendency of going to spam. But at least by having an avatar, it can reduce that chance of having your email go to spam folder. All right, guys, make sure that you're subscribing. If you're watching this video and you have not subscribed, you are missing a lot. So please hit that subscription button before I list this last tip. Okay, hit that subscription button, turn on my notification, just so you know when I upload other videos. All right, now the last bonus point, last one, guys, last one. So the last bonus point is spell check. Always ensure that you spell check your emails before you send them out. You don't want to have grammatical errors. You don't want to have your spellings wrong. So ensure that you spell check on your cover letter, on your email body, spell check to ensure that you have everything spelled correctly and accurately. Okay, all right, guys. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to please give this video a thumbs up. Let me say it again, subscribe and turn on my notification. Feel free to share with your family and friends who you think might find this video helpful. And I will see you again in my next episode, guys. Peace and light.